These are the VRS Direct Force Pro pedals. So it's a high-end product, stainless steel construction with an industrial aesthetic. Very, very adjustable. All three pedals, the pedal faces in terms of height, depth, angle are fully adjustable, and overall pedal angle is also adjustable. Now, if we look at the throttle pedal first, we have quite a unique design here. So we have a rodless spring, which doesn't quite look right to the eye, but functionally performs extremely well. Absolutely no friction whatsoever, so really nice smooth response. And we have a lot of adjustability here in terms of initial starting force, preload, and also overall force and pedal travel. So if we move on to the brake, we have similar levels of adjustability, a very high-end, heavy-duty construction. We have the blue spring on here at the moment, which tolerates a 65 kilogram maximum force. Also supplied is the optional red spring, which doubles that to 130 kilograms. These are linear springs, which is not normally how a real-life brake pedal feels. So we have this very clever mechanism on the back here, which basically turns that into a progressive, more realistic feeling, which gives you quite a decent bit of travel for low-level trail braking, and then more of a ramp up when you're really braking much harder. And we have this tie rod at the top, which is fully adjustable, along with preload, so you can really fine-tune that exact force shape to your preference. On the clutch, we have a similar level of adjustability in terms of pedal face and also the shape of the curve. So we try to emulate a clutch plate, which is stiff initially and then flattens out as the clutch gives way. So that's emulated here with a small amount of adjustability, including overall travel as well. So we're very happy with this product, and we hope you are too.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit IRacing.com.
Our time. We know what we gotta do. Stay in the fight. Between the walls.
Time to turn the intensity up.
Fight to the end, no matter what happens. Good day to be in victory lane.
Green flag is in the air.
Driving with conviction.
Side by side, hammer down.
The after Jensen will count out anybody. Who wants it the most?
We are eyes on the leader now.
He is driving his guts out. Wheel to wheels, they come to the line. Victory this will be.
Nobody wants it more than you.
Next flag is going to end it.
Does he have enough? A dominant performance.
Gonna stay down, baby. Let's go.
Can you believe what you are seeing? Everybody pushing as hard as they can in one final shot.
Gotta earn this thing. Running here to the end.
It is all on the table.
A total 500.
Drivers, start your If you're looking to get serious in sim racing, one of the first things to do is upgrade your wheelbase and pedals. The powerful force feedback in our direct drive wheelbase makes a huge difference, and our highly adjustable precision pedals will give you the consistency you need to improve. So you'll not only get the best value for your money, but you'll also benefit from our quick, local shipping from Australia and save even more. Our transparent pricing has GST included, so there's no nasty surprises at checkout or further customs delays and charges. And if you're near Melbourne, you can simply pick up your hardware from our showroom and get a free product walkthrough from one of our VRS coaches. We offer excellent customer service after the sale, and our hardware is made of the highest quality components. To get yours today, just go to the URL on the screen or click on the button below. But hurry, stock is always limited due to high demand. So if you want to get faster, sooner, VRS is your answer.
Control, feel the thunder in my soul. Through the danger, through the pain, only one thing to do to get to victory lane. Taking risks, full send, and in the end, be the best. It's taken over, cannot contain the desire to get to victory lane. I hear the echoes of the past, the roaring ghosts that never last. But here I stand, the finish line. One last race, one last time. Through it all, get past the pain. Cutting laps, making gains. Feeling tired, get to my aim. The desire to get to victory lane. Speeding faster, no control. Feel the thunder in my soul. Through the danger, through the pain. Only one thing to do to get to victory lane. Taking risks, full send, and in the end, be the best. It's taken over, cannot contain the desire to get to victory lane.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back into Infinity Broadcasting, and welcome into the iRacing World Challenge presents the VRS Porsche Cup Series here this evening as we come into round 3 of Season 4, and we go racing out at Circuito de Jerez, Engel Nieto. For the moto layout this evening, it is going to be a wild night of racing and one that you guys do not want to miss. Hamish Munro here with you, bringing you all the action through sight and sound right here on the Infinity Broadcasting channel. It is a big night of racing. It's been a big season thus far already, and we're so excited to see what these drivers can do in the first feature round of the season. One single 60-minute race, a full 300 points on offer for a race win here this evening. It is bound to throw some curveballs in the championship, and this circuit is one that will, I think, throw some tests towards the drivers. I think it's a circuit that's still suited well to the Porsche Cup car, and I think we could be in for an all-timer here tonight in terms of side-by-side action and side-by-side battles as well, all throughout as we go racing once again. Let's have a quick look at where we are in the championship this stage. As I said, round 3, Jerez Moto Circuit here tonight for the first feature round of the season. Next week will be away for Australia Day, so there will be no broadcast or race next week. We'll be back in the first week of February for round 4 at Motegi for the next rush round of this season as well. Then we head over to Suzuka, Mexico City, Circuit of the Americas, Daytona Motor Course, Miami Autodrome for the first of the 2 finals, and then Adelaide Street Circuit out in the grand final round come season's end as well. Let's have a quick look at our championship standings at this stage, and Ryan Bettis is controlling the show at the moment, 553 points. He's currently adrift ahead of Dylan Shepard on 478 points by just under 80 points at this stage. Daniel Harris P3 on 466 with Sam Muir in P4 on 417. Luke Page makes up the top 5 and 409 points, with Ryan Mueller, currently a silver class driver, on 404 in 6th place, but if Ryan performs well enough tonight, he will get upgraded to gold before round 4 in 2 weeks' time. Then it's Ellie Gardner, Luke Swan, Simon Mazzomo, and Lachlan Capel currently inside of the top 10. Craig Schultz, Tyler Williams, well, they're currently on the podium for the silver class at this stage, but as I said, if Ryan Mueller goes up, then Craig will be leading the Silver Class Championship quite possibly if he does well here tonight. Luke Crum currently leads for the Bronze Class as well to Tim Nicol and Todd Suter at this stage as well. It's tightly contested across the field, and with everyone able to race every single week, it means that there's opportunity for points everywhere on track, no matter where you look. So it should be a great time here tonight as we go racing once again. And, well, welcome in. If you're new here, or if you've been here for a little while, well, welcome to the VRS Porsche Cup Series. Great to have you here as well. It is a replay broadcast now that will be happening every Tuesday night, roughly between 6:30 and 7:30 every single week. It was supposed to be at 6:30 tonight. I had something to deal with, though, about an hour ago, so I extended the start time by an hour out to 7:30 again. It will start no later than 7:30, though, whenever we do bring the broadcast to you on Tuesday nights. So hopefully you stick around for the long time and the long term, and the next little while as well, until we go back to live broadcasting Monday nights as well. But if you want to get notified whenever we go racing here on the channel, be sure to hit the like button, the subscribe, the bell icon as well, so you're notified whenever we go racing right here on Infinity Broadcasting. Let's have a quick look at tonight's track map to see how it looks down here in Circuito de Jerez, here in the Angel Nieto region, in the southern part of Spain, not too far away from, of course, Gibraltar, Seville and Malaga as well. And as we come on down towards this circuit, formerly the home of the Spanish Grand Prix in Formula 1, as well as the European Grand Prix, as well as a former testing facility in Formula 1 too. Of course, it does host MotoGP action as well out at this circuit as well. It's a world famous one, and it's one that I think is an all-timer in terms of Grand Prix layouts of circuit. It all starts on that main straight up towards Expo 92 at turn 1, and then down towards turn 2 at Michelin. It's a straight uphill run up towards turn 1. Drivers will have to be careful under brakes, especially on lap 1. Also need to be careful of overlapping too. This could be an early spot for incidents here tonight if drivers aren't cautious and careful. Running it through Michelin at 2, then down through the double left at 3 and 4, and up towards Cito Pons at turn 5. Trying to keep your rhythm through these corners is very important, but also just trying to carry your momentum through them too. If you can get a good exit off of 5, you're going to set yourself up well for dry sack down at turn 6, which is the next major passing opportunity. Hard braking zone, full 180 degree hairpin. You come straight back around the corner again and you aim yourself out towards turn 7. When you come around Aspar at turn 8, again, you're trying to set yourself up at Angel Nieto corner at turn 9, and then Paluqui at turn 10. Then we come up through Alex Creville at turn 11, and on the Grand Prix layout it has this weird little chicane there. We can see it in the red part. This is mine, and I know a lot of other drivers prefer layout tonight, in the moto layout, where it just has the straight run around turn 11 and then up towards Ferrari at turn 12. It doesn't halter the momentum of the circuit, where we've all found that the chicane can often bring a little bit of halter in momentum. So running this layout is obviously preferred, and this is the preferred layout that we'll be running here in the series. When you come around to 12 Ferrari, though, you then come up towards turn 13 at Lorenzo. Got to be careful early in the race. Cold tyres, they don't get caught out on you on exit and you spin it around. You've also got to be careful of the sand trap on the outside of the track. You don't catch that or catch any too much of the curvature, because that can put you into the wall as well. Pit entry is going to be crucial tonight. If you even look at the AstroTurf on the left-hand side of pit entry wrong, you will get yourself one hell of a black flag penalty in pit lane. Pit exit's not too bad. It comes out in its own lane and you're not really coming out on the racing line either, but the pit entry is definitely the major focus point for those pit stops here tonight. We expect 2 pit stops across the race of 60 minutes. The circuit's 4.4 Ks, 2.7 miles in the old language. It's been open since 1985. This layout's been used over since 1994, and it's 13 turns in a clockwise orientation. As we prepare ourselves for what's to come this evening, it's going to be a wild night of racing. We know in the first few rounds thus far, it's been wild and woolly, namely at Brands Hatch in round 1, and then Navarra only a few weeks ago, or only last week as well. But it's great to be back once again. 3rd round in a row this season, 3rd round of 2026. And Jerez is, in my personal opinion, the best Spanish circuit. In iRacing and possibly even in all of Spain. Yes, I got irked by this track by having to call races here quite a few times, but it is a track that I really, really enjoy, and I think that a lot of people can really enjoy this place. when you're given the opportunity to enjoy it as well. So I'm a big fan, and I hope that everyone else out there is as well. Right, qualifying. Open qualifying is currently ready to go, and we're ready to rumble once again, as Luke Page is out there at this stage in his second outing for Project 36 tonight. We look forward to seeing how he does here this evening across the piece as well. Sam Muir's out there as well, defending champion, 4th place in the championship moment for 9.5 Sim Sports. He's just getting his footing back once again, it feels. He's getting himself sorted once again, and as I said, getting his footing back underneath him too. So we look forward to seeing how Sam does here tonight. Jack Anderson, he's got some work to do in the championship standings. Ellie Gardner as well, freshly put up to gold this season. We look forward to seeing how Ellie does across the piece here this evening, especially in qualifying as well. Jolan Hansen was promoted last week as a locked-in driver, thanks to Damien Cairn stepping aside due to some health issues at the moment. Damien has gone onto the wait list though, so that does mean that if we ever need to fill grid slots, we can ask Damien, and he can tell us straight up if he needs us to or not. And, well, that'll make it very easy for us if we ever do need to, because we know that Damien loves driving these cars, and we hope that he's getting a speedy recovery with whatever he may be dealing with, and that we can have him back very soon right here with us in the series as well. So we so look forward to having Damien back at some stage. David Uni as well, his teammate. These guys will be wanting to work together tonight in qualifying. Angus Lawford as well is just beginning his first run here in qualifying. We'll see how well he can do across the piece here tonight. Ryan Mueller as well. Well, what a run this guy's having. He has been on fire in the first 2 rounds. Has impressed myself and Brenton from when we were doing round 1 a few weeks ago on the Monday night out at Brands Hatch. Ryan, he's classified as a silver driver at the start of the season because he didn't take part in pre-qualification, but it meant that he was prone to being reclassified if we felt he was in the wrong classification, and at this stage it's looking more and more likely that he'll be a gold driver by the time we return after Australia Day in 2 weeks' time out at Mobility Resort Motegi. So we look forward to seeing what Ryan can do across the rest of the season when he does go up. But again, he has to have a strong performance tonight to really prove that he deserves that if he were to go up heading forward as well. Losing it there is I think that might have been Jason Dunn, possibly, although it could have also been... It was Tim Nicol, actually, in the Chubby Buns entry. So Tim Nicol has now ended up off the road. New colours on that car here this week. So a bit of a fresh paint job for Tim as he races out there at this stage. I thought it was Jason, because Jace, of course, races for Southern Cross Sim Racing as well. So we were just seeing if he might have actually been... partnering up with him, possibly. Mitch Curry sits the first time, 139.49. Daniel Harris at the top there, 138.54. Good pace in that car for Harris tonight. A little bit of pressure on him to perform here across the board. Dylan Shepherd, we know what sort of pace this guy has. Won the feature race last week out at Navarra, and his teammate Ryan Bettis, who leads the championship, has just gone to P2 here. Ellie Gardner into P3 this time by. Can Sheppo put a lap together here in the early runnings of qualifying to see if he can challenge Daniel Harris at the top end of town as he comes around turn 13 and up towards the start-finish line. Drivers beginning to get situated in, and as Shepherd crosses it here, what's the lap going to be? It's a 139.59, so some time to be gained for Dylan Shepherd here across the end of qualifying. We look forward to seeing what Luke Page can do as well. This guy's got some wicked pace about him, and we know that he can put a good lap together when it matters. Green Sector 1, white Sector 2. So he needs Sector 3 to be a gainer if he really wants to put some pressure on the top end of town here in qualifying. He's just had to pull over though, so he's actually pulled out of this lap now, so he'll have another attempt at some point in the future. Vinicius Coolio, one of our debutantes this season. We look forward to seeing how the Brazilian can do out there as he continues to learn this car and get better and better as part of the bronze classification this season as well. He's not set a time yet, and that's not going to help him running it off into the grass too, so maybe a bit of a learning curve for him here tonight. Jake Edwards, well, we didn't see him last week out at Navarra, but we saw him at Brands Hatch in round 1. We know that Jake's got some great pace aboard of this OPR car, and He'll be hoping that he can try and find every little bit of grip he can out of this thing to get a perfect lap together and put it up the front end of his front end of town with his teammate Ryan Bettis. Ryan Mueller goes to P4 though, 138.94, and Muir has gone to P2, but Gardner's just pipped in 138.18. As Harris has now gone 138.06. So if anyone's going to challenge pole position, it's going to take a 137 for them to get there. Green sector in sector 1 for Dylan Shepherd. Wide berth on the entry into turn 13. And now on the exit, he punches it up the hill. Is this going to be a better time, or is he going to have to get a run in on the next lap by to try and challenge that pole position time with Daniel Harris at the moment? It is going to take one more attempt if he wants to do this. So he sets up for this lap now. We'll follow him on it, and we'll see what sort of lap Dylan Shepherd can put together for himself here across the piece for the 6.5 minute mark here in qualifying. Cool, calm, collected Dylan Shepherd pushing this car as smoothly as possible. Not an improvement in Sector 1. Sector 2 is, though, 13.990 through the second sector of the circuit. So Sheppo's got some good pace here. He's got to try and put it together across the second half of the lap as he enters turn 7 now and up towards turn 8 and 9 through Angel Nieto. He will enter up towards and in towards the brake zone. Bit of lap traffic there ahead of him. He's got to try and avoid them. Oh, Anderson moves straight out of the way as Shepherd comes through. What is the sector time going to look like for Sector 3? It's a green sector again, 28.6. I think, actually, that might be a 28.8. My eyes are deceiving me. It is a 28.8. My mistake. And as he comes through turn 12, this could be a rip snorter of a lap here for Dylan Shepherd of OPR. Second place in the championship. Winner of the feature race last week at a Circuito de Nevada, and he'd love to go back-to-back in Spain, make a Spanish Inquisition for himself to a race-winning position once again. Across the timing line he goes. It's P3 for Shepherd, 138.18. Some time to be found on board that OPR Porker if he hopes to get that car at the top end of town. Now, Luke Page, he's still yet to set a time. We know this guy's got some pace about him. One of the fastest in the field, and he's a driver that will put a lot of pressure on others out there just to try and make a move. So for Page, he's got to try and find every little sector he can, every perfect sector, every perfect moment, perfect brake mark, perfect throttle application, not miss a gear, and get the entry to the apexes to absolute perfection as well. He's got to literally be perfect Page across this next lap if he hopes to get that car at the top end. He needs a 37 if he wants pole position, or it's got to be a very low 38 if he wants to challenge for a front row start here this evening. Harris has gone off at some point of the circuit, but he still sits pole at this stage with the 138.06. Page will come round turn 12. It's two green sectors in the mid part of the circuit. Up past the pin entry now to turn 13. What can the fresh Project 36 driver do for them here in qualification process? Up towards the timing line as his teammate Lawford goes to P2, 138.15. Page will go 139.34. Time to be found still for Page, but that's still a good start. P11 at this moment in time, but Suter's just gone faster than him as Chapman's off the road down there. And I think that may be... Oh, as round goes Alex Tzikis as well. Oh my God. Oh my lordy lord. Bit of contact between them on the off track. Harris has got to be careful where they've gone off. There's debris down there. Just a bunch of trash from the sand trap on the circuit now. He lets Harry Dodds go through. Ryan Bettis is now back in pit lane. We've still got 5 minutes and 20 seconds left here in qualifying. So let's try and see here how Chapman has ended up off track, because it seems to be a very wide berth. Okay, so actually this doesn't really tell the story enough for us. Let's go back here. So he comes through, clips some of the grass, gets a bad bounce down at turn 11, and around she goes just before turn 12. So he's off the track there. Now where is Alex Tzikis? Because he kind of has a little sympathy spin as well. So he comes around, clips the curb, does nearly the exact same thing. He gets it a bit loose on the entry to turn 12, and around it goes, and nearly into the contact zone with Kurt Chapman there. So that's a real struggle for him as Swanee gets a good time in. Luke Swan up to P6 now in qualifying. And I've just made the crucial mistake of clicking live. That is my own fault, ladies and gentlemen. That really is my own fault. And, well, what we're going to do is, it's TV, so we're going to have to quickly... We're going to have to very, very quickly just fix everything. So give me 2 shakes of a lamb's tail, and we will be ready for you with the racing action here tonight. I cannot believe I've just made that simple mistake. Oh, my lord. My lordy lord. I cannot believe I've just done that. And that's really quite annoying, actually, now that that's happened. So let's get this ready to go. That's practice. We're losing it here. Losing it here. Great to have everyone out there with us, though. Great to have you all watching along with us, too. We so appreciate your time joining us here tonight for what is bound to be a fantastic race once again. Warm-up session's about to happen here, just to reset all of our timing for a second. If you are watching, hop into the chat tonight. Let us know who you want us to keep an eye on. Give us a shout-out. Give us a message. We want to have a chat, so we want to hear from you as well. Lee Mueller's in the chat with us too. Have a great race, Ryan Mueller. Void Crash's out there, though, saying woo, watching along with us. So great to have you all watching along out there with us once again. And we thank you once again for joining us as well. So qualifying's come to an end quite abruptly because of my own mistakes. We prepare ourselves for the warm-up session here tonight. Now, Daniel Harris showed really good pace there in qualifying. Samuel did really well too, as did Dylan Shepherd and Ryan Bettis. So I look forward to seeing how those guys do, but also how the teammates of Luke Page and of Angus Lawford, how they go working together here tonight as well. Jamie Fleming in the chat as well, saying hello to everyone. Scott Rankins in the chat. This is a very vocal wobbler you should keep an eye on. Won't mention who. We'll keep an eye on that one as well. Ryan Mueller's in the chat. Let's fire up Jake Edwards fans. Of course. Is it Dodsy asking, is it you, Scotty? Oh, very well may be. Very, very well may be. We're not too sure, but we will we'll keep an eye on it. We'll see who it might be that we have to keep an eye on tonight, on who it very well may be heading into this race here this evening. So starting grid, though, for tonight's race will be as follows. Dylan Shepherd will start ahead of Daniel Harris on the front row of the grid. Luke Page, Sam Muir on the second with Angus Lawford and Ellie Gardner for the top 6. Luke Swan, Ryan Bettis will start ahead of Sean McNamara, with Scott Rankin starting on pole for the silver class here this evening inside of the top 10. Jake Edwards, Curtis Bird will then make up our top 12 here this evening as we look back to Mackenzie Stewart and Ryan Mueller starting ahead of Mitch Curry and Todd Suter on pole for the bronze class. Miles Burgess and Simon Mazzoma will start ahead of Craig Schultz and Harry Dodds, with Alex Tzikis and Tim Nicol starting for our top 22 cars. Gary Watson, Kurt Chapman will then start, my apologies, for the top 24 as we look back to Tyler Williams, Rick Cowling Fitzgerald ahead of Joel Hansen and Jack Anderson, with Jason Dunn and David Uni making up our 30 car set. Qualifying times, Vinicius Coolio could not set a time here this evening. Jack Wilkins has not set a time either, and I don't believe he is racing either at all. Greg Favell, the lead racing control tonight, with Leif McClimmon as his offsider and as the safety car driver too, playing double duty here this evening. And as I said, super, super exciting stuff. The pressure is rising and it's building onto these drivers as well as they just enter the start-finish straight now and they get gridded up and ready to roll here for Circuito de Jerez. It is a fun place to go racing and it is one of the best in the entire world as well. World famous for racing moments, of course. I still recall back to Formula One qualifying when it was the final round back in 1997. Jacques Villeneuve, Heinz Harald Frentzen and Michael Schumacher setting the exact same time in qualifying, and on that fateful day in 1997, on that fateful round actually, Jacques Villeneuve would eventually go on to win the 1997 Formula One World's Championship. So it's a very famous circuit. It's got a lot of famous moments about it, and it's one that I think should be on a lot more drivers' lists in terms of best racing circuits in the world. I think this place has got a lot of special features about it. Gives really, really good racing as well. It's a very rewarding track too. Dylan Shepherd, though, will start pole, as we said tonight. So he got a great lap time in qualifying, and he'll be hoping that he's maximised everything he can to keep this car at the front end of town and go 2 feature race wins in a row, as he won the 40-minute race last time out at Circuito de Nevada. So he hoped to do it in the 60-minute race tonight, clock the full 300 points next to his name, and maximise what he can gain on his teammate Ryan Bettis heading into Mobility Resort Motegi in 2 weeks' time as well. We know that Dylan's got some good speed about him. We know that he's a fast driver on board this 43 Porsche 992.2 Cup car as well. But there's some very fast drivers around him who will be putting a lot of pressure on him, and we'll be hoping that he can possibly make some mistakes. Lights are going to go up for the drivers, though, on the race start here in Jerez. 60 minutes to come our way around the 13 corner 4.4K circuit, as we are underway at Circuito de Jerez for round 3 of season 4. Up the hill we go into turn 1. How much chaos is there as Curtis Bird's already gone round here? There's a couple other drivers involved as well, including Ryan Bettis. He's already off the road too. Schultz is off. So is Rick Cowling Fitzgerald. So there's already been a little bit of chaos down here at turn 1. And other drivers are beginning to get involved now. But for Shepard, Harris, Page, Muir, Lawford, Swan, McNamara, Stewart, they've all gotten away cleanly, as Gardner has already dropped 3 spots off this race start. Incredible stuff. But drivers have got to keep their wits about them and try and keep themselves clean as well, as they prepare themselves for war and prepare themselves for battle for the next 60 minutes around here. It's tough to go racing in these things for 60 minutes. They're not made for long run running. The only time you ever run it that long is at the Nürburgring 24-hour, when you're doing stint after stint after stint of the Nordschleife, where in regular cup racing, you're doing shorter form races, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and, you know, again, maybe only as far as 40 minutes up the timing clock. So for a 60-minute race, there'll be a bit of wear on these cars. Should be no tyres taken in pit lane. 2 pit stops to come our way tonight as well, but drivers have got to be careful of something very crucial tonight that will be a hidden X factor in terms of turning the difficulty up to the next wick. And that, my friends, will be the off tracks here this evening. They are going to be crucial for drivers to try and take avoiding action as lap 1 comes to an end. Mr. Scott Rankin joins me in the booth now. Hello, Scotty. Welcome in. Glad you can make it, my friend. And I heard there's a certain wobbler who makes some mistakes tonight.
Yeah, that wobbler might not necessarily be me, so keep an eye on things as the race continues to progress. But the big thing is, in Spain, tyre wear is a problem. Front going away are a problem. You've got to maintain downforce on the car. You've got to look after them. You've got to give yourself a clean car to the back end of the race. That's critical tonight.
It's really, really critical, and I think controlling that tyre wear across the race is going to be massive as well across it too, because obviously 60 minutes here, Jerez can be a bit of a tyre killer as Dodsy's trying to get up your inside up at turn 5 here. I think the main 3 difficulties are the tyre wear tonight, maintaining your fuel as well, especially if there's some safety cars. That could screw up your calculations. And then as well the off tracks. Off tracks are going to be a killer as Dodsy comes through. Can he get the job done? Oh, he's running you a bit wide there, Scotty. Surely it hasn't got the red mist out by now. Surely not. It's only lap 2.
The red mist wasn't out for me, but there was definitely contact at the back end of the corner, and if there was not that secondary piece of contact, it would have been play on, but there was another bit of contact, and, well, cheeky little bump and run at the top end of the hill as well. That it certainly gets the blood boiling, but you've got to back it back down. The other critical thing as well, 20 incident points. Do you want to talk about incidents and where you can pick them up? Right here, inside and outside. If you're not careful, you carry a little bit too much of the curve, you can nick one, very difficult to do, but right there on the outside, that's nearly 1. So a 4X on lap 1, a 4X on lap 2, that'll leave you with 8. You've got 12 to manage across the hour, and then you can pick up one on the outside here, the inside. It's basically the whole track. There's a bunch of different spots you can pick them up. Quite easy to pick up 5 in a lap. You do that 4 times, there'll be a cycle through the lane.
Oh, I will, and I would not be surprised as Sam Muir sets fast lap of the race this time by 139.25. I would not be surprised, Scott, if we see some traversals through pit lane tonight because of the incident limit. Honestly, I wouldn't, because again, that's where the difficulty lies when we get to these circuits, and you know we're running for 60 minutes. As I said, you know, running P Cup cars, you used to running them, 15, 20-minute races, maybe 30 minutes. Like, the only time you're ever getting these long runs in is whenever you're running, say, in the N24 in June or July. I mean, is there any other time really that you're going to be running this car for that long?
Look, I mean, real world, getting up to an hour is sort of the longest that you're looking at. So, you know, there is a little bit of pressure that's put on these tyres there. They are definitely a tyre that's made to wear, but made to hang in there. They're not close to a supercar tyre where they're going to fall off the cliff, but they do want to see just a little bit of wear, something in it. So it's not easy. And the bigger thing, challenging thing about Jerez was there was a lot of discussion about it. And keep an eye on the way that the OPR cars are taking the corners. You'll actually see a lot of tail wag from them on the way into the corners. That's going to mean a lot more rearward on the brake bias. Try and take some weight off the front. So that trailing car just in who we're on board with right now, that was an off-track. The 22 entry picked up an off-track coming through the fast-flowing section of the track right there. So Harris picked up at least one off-track in the back half of the sector. But watch the way the cars attack the corner. More frontward bias, you can outbrake somebody. You can absolutely go for a send up the inside. You leave that frontward bias on, you're going to be costing yourself front tyres. 5-10 minutes time, you'll already start to see guys losing the front end.
I mean, it wouldn't be surprising to me, especially with such a high... Would we classify Jerez as a high-speed circuit? Surely we would. I mean, there's a lot of medium speed and flowing corners.
Medium.
Yeah.
But the big thing is all of those corners are long and challenging on the front end, and this is not a high downforce car.
No, so that's one of the struggles that, of course, drivers are going to find tonight. And I think there may be, obviously, some circuits later in the season where this will be applied as well. I mean, think about the switchback section at the start of Circuit of the Americas, some of the corners even on the moto layout of Daytona as well. But this track is, it's medium speed corners personified, isn't it? You know, I don't think there's another circuit on the whole calendar that has as many medium speed corners as this track. But this is where the combination of track and race format really come together as a challenge between themselves. So, I think somehow, I don't know how I've done this, Scotty. I've kind of lucked into making a really interesting combination, and I don't know how I've done it. I feel like Jerez now in a 60-minute race almost seems right, because that makes it challenging.
Yeah, but also having a race, like I actually think a more challenging format for this car and this track is actually a 20 and a 40. And the reason for that is you've got to approach both races very, very differently, which challenges you as a driver and the technique and the way you apply yourself. I don't know if you can get a shot at the front end of that car, but at this point in time, I've got a massive amount of front aero, and I was focusing very, very heavily on protecting the front tyres. It's just happened there, right there, and it's come from the back end of Curry. There was a big checkup. I went to have a look at him at the last corner. He sort of faked into the dive and covered himself off someone around at the last corner as well.
Is this the first time you've ever been able to call your own race, Scott?
No, not the first time.
No.
And there'll be more.
I'm sure there'll be more. I'm sure there will.
Yeah. But the big thing is that's a massive loss in terms of front aero. And I come into this going, I'm going to look after the front tyres on the long run. And, very basically from about now, I was feeling quite comfortable. I was feeling, everyone I can see ahead of me is pushing on with their tyres, using them up a little bit. I should be good. Give it about 3 or 4 laps time, and I went, all right, the pace should be coming to me. My pace fell off more than anyone. It's that front splitter damage. That tells you how critical it was.
I wonder, with upcoming tracks like Motegi and Suzuka for the next 2 rounds, I wonder if that same mentality is going to have to be taken.
I hate you, by the way, for those track selections. Anyway, moving on.
What's wrong with Suzuka? Suzuka's a great track. I know your opinions on Motegi. Oh, Ellie Gardner. Oh, it's just going round here. So that's bad. I find that Ellie has the poorest luck for the front end of drivers. I mean, she's quick and she can be very quick on her day, but she has had the most rotten luck sometimes. And she's described it as it's the races she normally puts the most time and preparation into are the ones that she has the worst luck, where the other ones where she just shows up, everyone else has the bad luck and she gets a good result. So it's a shame for her. But
think about the way that you mentally approach those sorts of races as well. When you put a lot of prep work in, you're confident, but a lot of that prep work is running solo laps, and it's thinking about the stint and how you put the actual race together, and you're not actually pressuring yourself. So when you get into the race, you go, I've got all this confidence. I feel like I'm a little bit faster than that. And for Ellie, I don't think she put the qualifying lap down. A lot of people didn't put the qualifying lap down that they sort of were capable of this year. And I actually had to take a break about halfway through qualifying and literally had to slap myself about the face and go, hey, you're overdriving this car. You would be a second faster if you underdrove it a little bit, put a lap on the board, and then went, all right, now it's time to press on. And I actually had to slap myself back to reality because I had a lot of pace in practice, didn't quite put it all together. And I think that's been the story as I'm getting back behind the sim, is consistency. Watch a lot of these guys and the way they go about. They're right up there. They're consistent. So from Ellie, what I would say is what you see from her in practice is a really smooth, calm, composed driver. And when the pace is there and the confidence is there, awesome, capable of putting the race together. Then the heat of battle kicks in and everything really, really changes. You go from being this really confident driver. And the other thing about practice compared to the race, airflow over the car, faster moving car due to the draft, which means your braking marker has to come back a metre, 2 metres, 3 metres when you're going just that little bit hotter into any of the corners, and you've got less aero on the car in the mid corner, so everything actually changes. So sometimes putting too much prep work in is actually a bad thing for a couple of different reasons, but yeah, just watch the attitude of the car that's at the front end of this little group at the moment. And again, keep your eyes on the OPR cars and watch the way they transition into the middle of the corner. Shep's going to drive off the rear a lot more, which is going to keep the front tyres cooler, which means he's going to be better on the long run as well. As I watched a lot of OPR drivers have mini snaps on the way into the corner, catch it, and brake really gently into the corner. It meant they carried the brake longer. And again, they were using the rear to drive the car right the way through the corner. Very critical to their overall race strategy.
Is that because you're often stuck behind OPR drivers, or you're just so fired up by Jake Edwards that you cannot possibly get past him?
I haven't gotten back up to that talent level yet. But it is coming. Not in a Porsche Cup car. The trickiest thing is you've got to remember, I've actually had about 3-4 months out of the sim where I've not touched anything, and that's happened multiple times over the last 12 months. So a lot of my technical abilities, and I spent a lot of time in the last week and a half looking at my brake traces in particular. I was on off the pedal constantly. It was just doing wacky things to the suspension because I thought I needed to be a lot more aggressive, and then I'd start braking too early, so I needed to roll off the brake, back on it because I'm now too late. So for me, it was about working on those consistencies and starting to put a lot of that technique back together. And then race brain as well. My race brain's absolutely destroyed. Oh, no.
Yeah, Ando's having some issues out there, it seems. He was put under stress early before the session. He's been having some wheel issues recently where the shifter's not working for him. He's done some software updates and stuff like that. Hopefully that's not an issue for him later on in the evening and later on in the race as well. But yeah, hopefully he can push on and just try and keep this car nice and tidy for himself now across the rest of the race, as Harry Dodds has just gone off too. Oh no, that'll hurt Doddsy. That'll hurt the mind, the ego, and the car a little bit too, as he's parked up facing the wrong way. I tell you what though, he's obviously had a lot of crashes. He's perfected that flick spin pretty well, Scotty.
Yeah, Doddsy has the ability, but the ability to put it together in the race is his biggest weakness by far. And I constantly talk about myself when I'm in and around him. It's just apply a little bit of pressure, just a little bit of pressure, and all of a sudden the cracks will start to show. And I love the guy. I really, really like the guy. But yeah, it's very, very easy. I mean, to be fair, I'm not much different at the moment. But that's like I said, you've got to put yourself in difficult situations in difficult cars to make that adjustment and make that improvement. One of the guys actually doing a highlight, and probably because I'm obviously on his team, but Matt Stewart actually came into this race with about 40. Actually, I think it was less than that. I think he joined the server about half an hour to go and practice. Had no practice. He's on an alternating work schedule, so you're going to see a little bit of him, and then a lack of him, and a little bit of him, and then a lack of him across the season at the moment, where he picks up night shift and then rotates out a night shift. So he's had a phenomenal last month where all of a sudden a whole bunch of results have started popping out for him. So he's on a growth climb at the moment, but the consistency you'll see from him in this series, he's just not quite there. And he's happy with his overall technique and the way that he's driving at the moment, but not necessarily happy with the results in the right places. So big I rating gains for Macca at the moment, but also, unfortunately, league results not actually going the way that he'd like.
Well, we know he's got great pace. I mean, he proved that back at Brands Hatch in the first round, but obviously we can only really go off that round thus far, but within the league, because we haven't seen him any other time other than then and then tonight as well. I've got faith in him that he can get good results out of this car. I mean, I thought he might win the championship in round one and then realised, he won't be here for the whole season. Well, can I change that, please? Sure, I'll change it. I think I picked Dylan Shepherd or Brian Bettis, one of the two, to maybe go on and win it. Or possibly, and actually no, I think I backed Sam. I think I said Sam might win it, but I can't even now, to be honest. There's so much that's happened the last 3 weeks, Scotty. Everything's just scrambling together at this point in time. But I tell you who's not scrambling is Dylan Shepherd. Fast lap of the race, 138.19. This guy's on fire at the moment. Won the feature race last week out at Navarra. He's got great pace tonight. Proved it in qualifying. Proved it in practice as well. He's P2 in the championship. He's got some points to gain to get up to his teammate Ryan Bettis at the front end of town. But I have to wonder, when will the crack come of consistency for Sheppo? Because eventually, from what we've seen, it can happen eventually as he makes one mistake and then it almost snowballs. When is it going to happen for him? Or can he run the full season nice and clean and keep himself in good points positions? He started off well. Can he finish well, though? That's the real question I have to ask.
Yeah, I mean, again, potential's always there whenever you see him. I think the biggest thing is if you have a look at the championship as a whole, the reverse grid races have really shaken things up and shaken up the mindset and the approaches, and we've seen a lot of that. How to manage them, I think nobody's cracked that code as of yet, but we've got a little bit more time and a week off this week with a 60-minute race. But critically to this one is putting the strategy together as well. This is a completely different mindset style of race. This is not necessarily hot lapping, but it's a lot closer to that than the reverse grid races we've seen. We've clicked over a critical marker here tonight about as well. Effectively, fuel's going to last you in the realm of about 25 minutes. You're going a little bit harder, you'll burn a little bit more than that. There's our first stop. What that means is we had a 10-minute window of fuel that you needed to tick over. And that's that first 10-minute window of we ticked over. It's just shy of 2 full stops to the end of the race from here.
Yeah, so Burgess is going to be the first one in, but I think he's actually copped a drive-through here, Scotty, for an early incident in the race. So unfortunately for Miles, which I think actually may have been the reason why Ellie Gardner was facing the wrong way only a few laps ago. So Miles rejoins the circuit. He's completed his drive-through and now he continues on. Tries to get straight back past Harry Dodds. He does the job pretty cleanly, so great job there to Miles to get that back up and under, but do the crime, you got to do the time. And relatively speaking, we've had a fairly clean run actually. We got past lap 5 and all the incidents have kind of finished for the moment here, so everyone's gotten into their rhythm as they head up towards the first proper pit stop of this race. And I often wonder, because it is such a longer race, will there eventually be a safety car? If it doesn't happen in the first few laps, will it happen later in the race? Because when the mind starts to go or the car starts to go, mistakes can happen, and all of a sudden that Ford Mustang can end up on the track. How's that going to affect this race, and how could it affect some of the pit strategies of the drivers? I think if you're a front runner, it's better just to push on and keep going in case there is that safety car that comes out and you can have it for free. I don't mind a dice roll, though, from a driver up the back coming in early and taking a pit stop at this point, just to try and get either some track position or maybe even undercut the field slightly by getting some clean air.
I mean, the thing is, if you're on the back foot, you've got to try and do something. This is Mitch Curry jumping into pit lane to get his first stop done. That pack that he was at the back of was very, very aggressive in the opening laps, and there was a lot of switching and swapping and trying to dive and trying to pull out, trying to have a go at people yet again. So it checked a lot of their pace up, and you actually saw them lose touch with the lead group as a result of that one. So for him to dive off the back end of that pack is, again, this is just, you're right, it's playing the cards, and we've hit a critical window. We're only about 8 minutes away from hitting the end of the maximum distance on this fuel strategy. So really a couple laps, and we're basically there. What I would actually like from this first run is to go a little bit deeper in the race. I think 17 minutes was a touch too early last night to go for the undercut. You definitely wanted to get out of the pack as soon as you possibly could, but you also needed to be a little bit tighter to the pit window. And the reason for that is this first pit stop for him, very, very short. Everyone that's in and around him that's already done that stop, they were filling the tank up to maximum, which meant that there wasn't a big enough hole in there to get a lot of fuel on board. He's bought himself track position at the moment, but he's also paid the fine of already having a transit through pit lane. So his net gain is not a lot of it. If this runs through the end of this stint, gold, bonza. He'll have a little bit of track position, but he'll have to pay for it. And that's sort of what he's asking. He's saying, if there's a safety, I'm taking a lot of risk right now, because if there's a safety car of any description, I lose out completely and utterly. If there's none, I've got track position. I can do something with that. And that's what that decision's all about. And sometimes it's just better off to just dive out of the queue as well.
Yeah, and even if you're just trying to run as clean a race as possible and control your race and control the control, as you said, sometimes it's better just to hop out of that battle pack, take the pressure off yourself, and sometimes you strike gold and you get lucky because the pack you're in can get a bit more feisty, maybe make some contact, and then, well, in fact, you have made a good jump on them because you got out of the way, and you kept your car nice and clean as well. We've seen it time and time before within different series, whether it's supercars or 8.6s or even open wheelers as well. Often someone will anticipate an incident coming, so they'll come into pit lane, and only a few laps later that pack of cars will end up in the sand trap because they were just fighting that hard. for that position. So, and often those drivers that can tell that, they're the ones that normally go on and have pretty good success, because they can see what's going to happen before it even does, just by seeing how the cars are reacting and how the drivers are piloting their vehicles as well. And it's a very difficult skill to learn. If you can learn it, though, it can save you at the worst of times, or even at the best of times, whether it's an endurance race or a league race. It can definitely help you out. As Alex Tzidakis has just got up the inside of yourself there, Scotty. Alex has showed pretty good pace, but, well, I'm interested to see what he can do across the rest of this season as well. He came into the series with, I think he'd only ever really driven, to my knowledge, over in other leagues like SRW, but I hadn't really heard much else about him, so I wasn't quite sure about how he'd go in the Cup car, but I haven't really seen too much negativity about him this season. He's actually been doing quite well for himself.
Yeah, really he just flies under the radar, and he just lurks, and he just lurks, and he just lurks. Back at Brands Hatch, when I had the opportunity to sit behind him for a fair while, actually defended quite well. So he just placed the car awkwardly. Again, there wasn't supreme pace, and the other thing I liked about him as well is he didn't fight too much. He fought to a point whereby, don't look in the background. No. Any other car. Hamish, what are you doing to me? Mate, any other car. We were just talking about Alex. Any other car. That was actually, remember how I was talking about the fronts going away? That was mainly triggered by that. I was just starting to have to throw things at the car, and I went too far. Rear went on the bias, cooked the rears as well. And around she went. But the front tyres on that thing were just cooked, like the lack of downforce. All the race runs I did in practice compared to that. We'll get back to Alex here in a moment. Yep.
I think I've just seen someone. Oh my God. Jack Anderson has gone off the road. That car is completely destroyed. How has this happened to him? Because this car is completely cooked. It's parked up in a horrible position. I'm not going to make the same mistake I made last time, I promise, where I click live. I'm going to click play. So what's happened here to Ando? He's had a steering failure.
Yep.
That thing has had a massive steering failure. And that car is cooked. And that car is parked up on the side of the road at a horrible spot between turn 5 and turn 6. And this very well could be our first safety car of the race. Could not come at a better time, though, because we're within the pit window now. We're within the window where drivers can come in, get a pit stop done, and can get home on one more. So if we see these front runners come in, we could very easily see this safety car on track. And I think that's what Race Control's waiting for. It is a freebie. You might as well.
Yeah, and this is exactly what those guys. The Curry did not want to see this. Ellie Gardner didn't want to see this. Burgess didn't want to see this, because this just throws their strategy. Again, if you're in those guys' shoes, you're probably coming back for another little bit of a free kick on fuel, or you got to stay out. There's realistically nothing you can do about that. The earlier that you came in the window, again, the critical lap time was about after 10 minutes, as Mac is going to dive into the pit lane.
Yeah, so Stewart's in. The front runners have kept going, though, so I think Race Control may actually be waiting for a second here just to call this, because I think they might. It's either that, or they actually don't know he's there, because if his wheel disconnected, his microphone may not work.
His microphone didn't work, but he got a text message through to them, and that was the critical thing for him. I think it was a little bit delayed.
So Bettis is in as well. Mazzomo's in. Chapman, Burgess, and Dodds are all in the pit lane now as well. So it is lighting up down in pit road. So we would expect Dylan Shepherd and Harrison Page and the others all to come in pit lane at the end of this lap, as they will steamroll past that parked car. Hopefully no one hits him down there, actually. They should get a yellow flag as they come around turn 5, so they'll have plenty of awareness that there is someone there. Hopefully, though, no one makes contact with him, as I have just seen that the safety car has been entered by Mr. Leith McClements tonight. So it will be a VRS safety car for number 1 here this evening at this wondrous circuit. So safety cars heading out there. I've just realised I made the crucial mistake, Scott. I was cleaning up my downloads folder the other day. I've deleted one of my assets, which was my safety car.
What you were deleting out of there.
It was my safety car graphic, which is at the bottom. I'll have to re-download it off where I made it. That's very helpful for me.
We won't talk about what went missing out of the junk bin, shall we?
Nope.
But then again, we won't talk about any of that with my recent internet issues history. So.
Dylan Shepherd, Daniel Harris, Luke Page, and Carl are all now coming into pit lane, so we expect everyone else to come in as well. I believe Leith is waiting at the end of pit lane, or maybe just around about turn 1 or turn 2. There he is right there, actually. He's just lurking at the top end of the pit exit, waiting for those front runners to come out of pit lane. I doubt anyone's going to jump them here, Scott, because Well, even when Mazzomo pitted, he wouldn't have been anywhere near to try and get the jump on them unless he took a shorter fuel stop, but there'd be absolutely no point. Hopefully they've remembered to untick tyres. We have seen those mistakes get made in the feature races before.
Here's the thing, though. Remember, we're at Jerez. And like I've already said to you, with the damage that was on the front end of my car, my fronts had already gone. So I was left between I basically said, look, I'm going to have to take tyres no matter what. Had a little bit of a word with Macca as well. We're both expecting to see a little bit more fall off. Again, I think this was a difference in decision about the way that we went after the cars and the way we went to set up the cars, as we are actually going to see a change of lead on pit road. But the biggest thing is, for those guys that were able to hang on to their tyres to this point and keep them in a really, really nice window, is that I think they ran a more rearward bias. It's risky, particularly in the opening laps, because whilst you're on cold tyres, you definitely want a little bit more forward bias. You'd rather lock a front than you want a rear on cold tyres, because you'll just lose the car with no hope of saving it. But once you get into the stint, you had to run that bias a little bit further back to look after them. My fronts were cooked. No front downforce. I had nothing left at the front end of that car. I had to take tyres here. So I did, and I can tell you Mackenzie did as well at this point in time, because we were both thinking, look, we're not right there, and we're not right at the pointy end of things. We're not right with those lead guys. Let's play a little bit of a different card and see what we can do. And Macca was open to it and running a little bit of different strategies. Sometimes you just have a crack. And the big thing that's actually quite relevant to this series and these cars, and a note that goes in the book moving forwards, is they do not take tyres at the same time as they take fuel. Fuel goes in first, then you go up on the jacks for 4 tyres.
Well, that's it's a bold game to play, for sure, but I think, depending on the track, actually, taking those tyres Jerez's worth it, I think. If you can maintain pace, it's worth it. If you can't maintain pace, there's no point in coming in and taking tyres. Like, for someone like yourself, Scott, or even Mackenzie, you guys can run relatively quick laps. If you can run those laps on a fresher set of front tyres, or even all 4, whatever it may be, that's going to pay off for you in the long run. I mean, there's still, nearly, 36 or 34 minutes left in the race. We've nearly got what would be a rush round feature race to come. Having those fresh tyres now, well, that changes how you approach the race, but it means you have got a much better grip advantage over the other cars on track. I question, though, did you take a fast repair because of your front end damage as well, Scott?
No, and not at this point in time, because the fast repair was actually not caused by anything I did. It was caused by a checkup in the queue, and we just gone back to a short queue. So I was hanging on to the fast repair. If there had been no safety car, I would have taken the fast repair for sure at the pit stop. Because there was a safety car, I wasn't willing to risk it. Any more damage from being in a safety car queue would have basically just killed my night. I wasn't willing to take that risk. So I scheduled, the way I looked at it was, sweet, this now means that my next pit stop comes very, very early in this next run. I'll get in, get the fast repair, get that front end back on the car, and get some downforce over it. So just leveraging those tools. And again, it's risk versus reward. I'm running in a pretty reasonable place. I've got tyres back on the car. This gives me a lot of opportunity, particularly when you're talking about class standings as well. At this point in time, so it was all relative to where I was sitting in the class. If I was a lot further back than this, and I was on the back foot already, fast repair would have come out, because I needed to make as much gains as I possibly could. And I think that's Harry jumping up on the jacks. He was thinking about taking fresher tyres as well. So you look at these situations of what do I have, what bars and levers can I pull, and what things can I use, and is it worth taking that risk? And for me, a fast repair at this point in time was not worth taking that risk.
Well, pitting at this point for Dodds, it almost seems like he's thrown that away a little bit now. I mean, he could have come in before the safety car was on track, and he probably would have been better off. But I don't know. It's a bold choice, Doddsy. We'll see how that pays off now in this one. But although being at the back can also pay out, I think it was a big mistake though coming in now. I mean, and honestly, that's a bit of a rookie mistake. I would actually expect Doddsy not to make such a mistake like that. With the amount of races he's done, be probably within, I would argue, maybe nearly 1,000 races he would be under his belt now in leagues. I mean, he's been in leagues for a long while as Doddsy. I mean, to make that sort of a choice, that doesn't seem right to me for Doddsy to make that choice.
I think he got into the queue, and I think he'd had a second thought about tyres and what people were doing with tyres, and I think that's come from a response of having a look around. Again, clean car. Difference between clean car and what you're actually doing in these sorts of situations is what you're looking at there. The tyre pressures and stuff started to come down. You've also got to remember the safety cars we had at Brands Hatch, the tyre pressures, because they were so back to back to back to back, tyre pressures dropped below what you bolt them onto the car with. And if Dodds was expecting we're going to get maybe a couple of safety cars back to back to back here, coming in actually gets you a fresh set of tyres with, if they come on at, I think, what 1.6, I think, in the pressures, or whatever the number is in pressures. But if we're going around behind the safety car for an extended period of time, that can drop away to a 0.1 of a beneath what the tyre pressure is. So there is a case whereby if you think the tyres are going to go stone cold, this is actually something I did in the OSR 12-hour last year, by the way, we were in the GT4 class. And it was twofold. The reasoning was twofold. One, we wanted to get out of the queue and we wanted nothing to do with it. And two, the tyres were so damn cold, coming into the pits actually put some temperature back into the tyres, so it did something. So that I don't necessarily think it's an out-and-out mistake. I think he's made a decision. We just can't see what the reasons were for behind that decision. There's a lot of negatives to what he did.
Yeah, especially with, only 30 minutes left in the race. Everyone else, he still needs one more stop. I don't know if it was worth it at that point in time, but we'll see if his bold strategy can pay off for him, if the dice roll will pay off for him as well. We've got one car out of this race thus far. It is the 58 entry of Jack Anderson, who has brought out the first safety car of the evening. 30 minutes and change to go here at Jerez, as Daniel Harris will get us underway. When does he go? He's held him up towards the start stripes, but he goes at the grid point and goes pretty well. He's actually got a good little gap here up the hill to Shepherd. He really didn't have much other choice other than either go when they call green or hold him a little bit longer and try and catch some napping, and he's done well. You see Page there running the rear end out through turn one. Mackenzie Stewart's gone round on those cold tyres. Cold tyres for Mackenzie Stewart, and they've gone round as Luke Page as well has run it off track down at turn 2 and turn 3. As round goes Alex Tzikis too. Drivers here are falling by the wayside at this point. And I think it has to do with that point you made, Scotty, about the tyres dropping temperature under the safety car. I think they've just dropped a bit of temp, and now that they've dropped that bit of temp, they've got to try and work them, take it a bit cautious here on the first few laps after the safety car, get them back up to premium temperature, as Lawford is covering so well. He's improved so much in this car over the last 2 seasons, as he's previously done in the supercar as well. As a round goes, Ryan, was that Ryan Mullen? No, it was Mitch Curry, actually. Sorry, yeah, Mitch Curry has gone round down there. So few cars are getting caught out here by cold tyres, or possibly some AstroTurf issues as well, getting on the gas a bit too early. And there are the victims of this first restart lap massacre at this point. Mitch Curry, Mackenzie Stewart, and Alex Tzikis as well. But yeah, Lawford's been on absolute fire recently. And he previously participated in the Pro Series qualifying for the Pro Invitational V8 Supercar Series as well over at ASRG.
That was an off track. Do you see that? The tyres just went beyond the back of the curbing. So he's picked up one there. Again, it's just track it, just track it, just track it. Because it's 37 laps it was due to be if it went green the whole way. 37, 38 laps. So it's one every 2 laps. You can pick up 5 a lap. Another car around in the background.
That's Miles
as well.
Burgess. That is Miles Burgess down there, who's been in the wars a little bit already with a drive-through tonight. Had a fairly good comeback, actually, by taking his pit stop previously under this safety car. As Sam Muir's just had a little dropout. Hopefully he gets back into it. He does, which is good to see, but wouldn't want to see the defending champion get knocked out at this point, who's had a up-and-down run thus far at the first part of the season. But yeah, Angus, wow, he has really improved thus far.
Yeah, and I had to say a big apology to him after last week at Lamara as well. I don't know what I was thinking, but I got to the back of him, and it was really, really good to see him up and at the pointy things. And he's another one of those drivers who's just been chipping away at things, moving further and further and further forward. Keep an eye on the battle in the background. That's the 113 of Betsis trying to get down the inside. Is that Mez in the middle? I think it was. Yeah, it is. And Macca's going to go around the outside as well. It's good to see Team Boss and Team Antagonist is probably the best way I like to refer to Mez over there, going elbows out. And I tell you what, that man has been a terrorist in these cars the last couple of weeks. He's been absolutely dive bombing his way through the pack.
Mez has changed his driving mentality. First season, ironically, the season he won the championship, he was so timid and just like, oh no, I can't win, I'm not going to win. Never won a race that season, but won the championship over the likes of Corey Lazarus. Like, just through pure consistency and keeping himself at the front end of town and not getting into mistakes. The crucial part of that championship win is Luke Page goes for a big dive on Ryan Bettis and wants the 2-for-1 here on Sean McNamara as well at turn 13. It'll take a good drive out of the corner up towards turn 1 to get this done. The crucial part for Mez that season was the lack of penalty points he had. He left that season with 0 penalty points next to his name, and it was crucial in him winning the championship. It was the same thing for Sam Muir in season 2 when he won his first title here in the series as well.
Yeah. You know the best way to rattle Mez is to ask him to buy you a few pies and whack him out of the stadium. That's how you get under that man's skin.
Of course, Mez quite well. Former co-commentators together over in Split 1 of the Vets. That was bloody many moons ago there.
Oh, that was many
Scotty, that
moons
was
ago now.
good old, would have been at least 2 years ago to this point in time. So
I think it's 3. Yeah, gee whiz, it's actually gone by rather quickly.
You see as well, Muir's getting racy. I would expect Macca to let him go here, knowing that Muir wants his 3-peat this season. I don't think Macca's going to want to try and get involved too much with him, but I expect Sean McNamara to be a challenger of this championship at some point in the future. May not be this season as he learns this car a bit more, but I think next season he's going to be one to watch. I think McNamara's getting faster and faster in every car he's driving. He had some great performances last season in the Vets up in Split 1. He's hungry for silverware, and I think he wants a bit for himself.
I actually think the opposite with the way that Sean's going about things. He actually announced his retirement at the end of last year's V8 Pro Championship. So we have seen the last of top flight for himself, Macca. But that gives him a little bit more time to work on the family, work on himself. And, he's lost a lot of weight. He's put a lot of work into himself personally, but also assisting people. He's taking more of an assisting role and a supportive role in each and everything that he does. And this championship, and a couple of times I've had an opportunity to chat to him about it as well, it's been about fun. This has just been about getting out there, getting involved, and wild racing. He's not the same Macca of old where he is that guy that will absolutely nickel and dime you. He'll sit there, he'll be really, really nice and square, and he won't go for that edgy dive bomb. He's actually willing to get the elbows out in this championship and bang a few more doors and be a little bit more aggressive and race people that he wouldn't normally race, because he's here for fun. He's not here to win silverware. He's actually, and I really, really like that approach from him.
I do as well, and you know what? It's actually nice to hear that. It's also refreshing to hear that as well. And that, that's why we originally started the league, of course, was to, when we started it, there was one Porsche Cup League in Australian sim racing, and it was over in GSRC. That was the only one. AOG wasn't running at that time. Obviously, there was no Pro Series Porsche Cup Series as well. It was almost like Australian sim racing was hungry for a top flight Porsche Cup Series, but also something as an alternative for people to go racing at, or for more Porsche Cup Series people to go racing at as well, because we deliberately picked Monday because it didn't line up with anything in terms of Porsche racing. It didn't line up with GSRC, so then people could run both. Now with the announcement and the future implementation of the Porsche Pro Invitational Series as well, there's going to be even more for top flight runners to go racing, and there's still going to be great options out there for lower flight runners to go racing as well. But at this stage of the year, Scotty, we come into 2026, it looks like everyone and their mum's wanting to start up a Porsche Cup League at this stage. I mean, it's...
Yeah, but that's what happens when you release the 992.2. And I think the big thing is, I actually just saw about 5 minutes ago, I just got a notification, there's another one that's just announced itself as well. So,
there's one that's announced themselves to be running on Mondays. So we look forward to the head-to-head and a little bit of a Monday night war going on.
That's 3 Porsche Cup Series on Monday night now, by the way.
Well,
can't believe that.
I know.
But I think largely it's because the 992.1 and the tyre model on it was not loved. It was not well received. It was doughy. It didn't track properly, and they sort of gave grip to it but took grip away at the same time. So you just got left with this really ugly feeling car. At the moment, we do have a little bit of a problem like that. This is the hot thing on iRacing at the moment. Challenge for the lead, I believe. Yep.
It is indeed. Shepard wants an outside run here on Harris. Yeah, Ben Pedersen would disagree with you about the 992.1. He did not sign up this season because we were running the new car and because we were running traction control and ABS. But
that's a debate that's as old as time.
It is. As Shepard has got that job done. That was a great bit of racing there, actually, side by side through that mid part of the course, and he's now retaken the race lead. And I tell you what, Dylan Shepard looks about as aggressive but smooth as ever, doesn't he? He is looking on fire at this early point of the season, and when Dylan's racing like this, he is very, very difficult to beat. You know, no slouch on Harris here as Bettis is now in a pit lane. Harris is, you know, last year he was involved in the State Series Esports Championship in the mid part of the year. You know, this guy is not a slow driver. He was battling for race win in the LMP2 top class of the Daytona 24-hour only a week ago. I mean, he is, or only this previous weekend actually, he is a top flight driver, you know, 8.5k. This guy's very, very fast, and Dylan Shepherd's bringing it to him. But so is the likes of Angus Lawford and Jake Edwards, and even Ryan Mueller at the back of this battle pack too. So, you know, iRating's not necessarily the major factor anymore, but all of these guys are very, very quick tonight. It hasn't been from since leagues blew up in Australia. That was really the turning point. As Lawford's having a look here on Harris down the inside at turn 6, but you know Harris is a very quick guy. He's a very quick driver as well. All of these guys are bringing it to him tonight, and all of them are putting the pressure on him. And what would have been very interesting this season? Oh my God! What would have been very interesting this season would have been if the series had actually seen the return of Corey Lazarus and where he would have been placed amongst this as Edwards shoves it up the inside of Angus Lawford, and he holds him off as well. Great move for Edwards, now putting that second OPR car on the podium and pushing Angus back to P4.
I actually really like that. Oh, that was Harris, I think, through the dirt. So Harris, so again, remember what I was talking about. So Daniel Harris was saving fuel, I reckon, in that battle pack, because having the pit timing and the transition times through the pit lane, he was shortest, which is why he popped out ahead of everybody else. And the only way for him necessarily to do that was a shorter pit stop. There goes Macca into the lane. He'll get that one service and back out there. But what is he doing to do that? Well, he's lifting off early. Now, realistically, that can save a bit of tyres, but it circulates back to you. Have a look at the way that Shepherd's car's driving off of all the corners. He's still got a lot of front grip, but you can just see Harris just doesn't have it anymore. The front end of the car is not wanting to track, and there goes the rear end of the car. So he's taken a big swing at the brake bias after dropping back in behind these guys. Dirty air will play a factor in that as well, but have a look at the way and the differences in the way these cars are tracking. There's more dirt and dust, so he is driving that thing really, really hard, which makes this worse, not better. When you're burning front tyres, and that's going to lead to the switchback from Edwards. Going to have it going in on both sides of the racetrack. They're nearly a wrap on the rear bumper. Shepherd's going to disappear down the road. He is trying to shepherd the lambs home and shepherd them all the way home on his own.
Yep, he wants that second race win in a row this season. And for Harris, he looks to find his first as well. He's a multiple-time race winner in the series, but he's yet to find success here in 2026 in terms of a top-level finish. Oh, as Edwards gets a massive snap there through turn 11 and off the exit of turn 10. Now as they run down... Oh, no, that was turn 9. My mistake. Now through turn 11 and in through turn 12. Learn your corner numbers. That's pretty important, isn't it, Scotty's Lemmy corner numbers, as Mueller now gets past Lawford, who enters pit lane. So we'll see if Mueller can actually make some gains here, because with Angus now out of his way, he'll be able to just push on a little bit, and he may be able to just hang back off Edwards but get a nice toe off him as well and just maintain the lap time. But look at that lurking Luke Page, who's got some great pace about him, and now as a part of this Project 36 team, that combination in the gold class of Page and Lawford is only going to get stronger week in and week out.
So have a look at the dynamics of this leading group, though, and it's really, really critical at what each of them has done in terms of their strategy. So Shepherd got the job done. Edwards is there, and he's got a car. And again, we were just talking about accessing the rear axle and applying that rear axle, and I think we just saw that in the way that Jake Edwards was driving that car as opposed to Harris. But the other side of that coin is, well, I'm a little bit caught up in this. These guys are fighting ahead of me. I think, actually, Lawford's made the best decision, because now another one of this car has to pit the next lap. Another one of these cars has to pit the next lap. Harris can't pit. If Harris pits, he loses out to the whole lot of them. If Edwards pits this lap, Harris will pit the next lap. If Edwards doesn't pit this lap, and I'm Ryan Mueller, I'm pitting. Because I think that whilst these guys are having a go at each other, I can get them. Whilst ever they're sitting here where they are right now, they'll probably pull a little bit away from me if I pit. But if they're going to start having a go at each other and swapping and changing positions through the corners, that's half a second a lap very, very quickly, and I can eat that up. I can get some track position on both of them.
Yeah, well, we know that Ryan can make some bold plays at a top finish throughout his racing career, as that was a wide run there for Edwards. We saw the dust pop up, in the foreground of that picture as Edwards continues on. Mueller's going to stay with him though, so he hasn't come into pit lane this time. There are 17 minutes left on the clock left in this race. What more can come from Circuito de Jerez here tonight? Tyler Williams now into pit lane as well. Oh, but he's run it way wide at pit entry. That's a massive mistake for him. That may be a...
Have they clipped that?
No,
so he's definitely got one tyre in the grass down there. You can see that line. Yeah,
but it's if so I know the AstroTurf gives you a stop hold. I don't know if the outside grass does. Oh wait, who's that off the track? That's Kurt Chapman. Kurt Chapman is off down there, and he has had a very unlucky start to this season. Has last season's bronze champion who got promoted up to silver class by way of that championship win, and that's what's to wait the silver class and bronze class winners this season, is a promotion up to the next slot above. But yeah, Chapo is not having a fun time this season. Oh, Tyler, I think, is taking tyres.
Yeah, I think he's accidentally.
So it's a mistake from Tyler to take him at this stage, because if he was going to take him, it was better to take him under the safety car where traffic was a bit slower and you're not going to give up nearly as much time, where now that's probably killed his race.
No, so so I actually spoke to Tyler about this after the race, because I was riding on underneath his rear wing and having a go at him with the fresher tyres when he pit, and if he didn't pit there, I was coming in, because I was basically ganging up on him. And the big thing is, remember I said to you, I had all this front damage, I wanted to get it clear as soon as possible. Now I've got to run 5 laps before I can pit, because I know that I'm quicker than the guy, and I can't just follow him in. I've got to run a brilliant lap, and I didn't know he'd had the tyre drama. So Tyler and I talked about that. He said, yep, I actually just forgot to turn them off, so it was actually just a straight up mistake from him.
Well, you can see, Scotty, that you're back up to P10 where you started this race, but you've lost the lead of the class to Ryan Mueller. But, I mean, yeah, let's be honest. Ryan was misclassified. He should have been put in gold. I knew I misclassified him when I put him in silver, but I gave him the benefit of the doubt. And I thought, well, if Dylan Gray's gone into silver, perhaps Ryan could go into silver as well. We'll see where they both come out. Both of them are relatively quick in a supercar, but yeah, Ryan can apparently just drive anything, and this kid is super, super quick. So he's going to get that gold number next to his name next week, in 2 weeks' time, and we'll get that gold banner on his car as well. And they'll have Pacific Esports Racing will have a car in both gold and silver class running from round 4 onwards, it seems. So that will mean that Ryan can maybe try and challenge the top. I mean, he is technically a championship challenger right now. He is within the top 10 in the championship. He's running well. A race win will swing his momentum this season. I think he's very capable of getting one as well. You know, perfect timing, perfect track. Ryan can win on his day, and I think he could very easily sneak his way a race win, maybe with a reverse grid of the inverted top 10s coming in one of the rush rounds, or possibly a sprint round 2. Watch for Ryan Mueller. He's going to be one that will get some silverware this season, whether it's a race win or even a podium to boot as well, which is very likely to happen.
But in terms of the silver class settings, what that actually does as well is it also casts a cat amongst the pigeons as well. Mueller's confidently and crystal clear out in the front. It's daylight back to the next guy. But he also didn't have a great Brands Hatch round as well. So he was actually, in and amongst things. And that's probably what's cost him from not being right up at the pointy end of the gold class standings at this point in time. But once you take that out, it's basically somebody from the silver class has a banger of a week, somebody else has a terrible week. And that's happened every week of the championship thus far. This week is Harry Dodds' week to have an off week. Dylan Gray won the class, I think, in week 1. Did a great job at Brands Hatch in the feature race back there. So he had a great start. And then all of a sudden I've put the pace together here tonight as well, but I've also had dramas. So the big thing when you have a look at the silver class is it's warfare. To me, it's not necessarily racing. There's a little bit of racing to it, putting the races together and putting them together cleanly. And you can even see I've got battle damage on the front end of this car. And that was the biggest thing I said to myself coming into tonight. Look after the thing, keep it straight. And the damage from the front end of that car was not much I could have really done about, really. And I even, try to keep my nose clean. Have a look at Alex Sikas as well. A lot of pace, a lot of potential at different points in time. He can stick a race together. Again, class winner on the time. And he's had 2 spins tonight. 1 spin you can probably get away with in this class. 2 you definitely cannot. And the biggest thing I'll say to all the silver drivers is balancing that car across the stint. I've seen just about every driver in that class have pace that different phases within that stint. Dodds goes out very, very hard, a lot of pace up strung. Then the weight comes off the car and the rear end rotates, and he just wants to stomp on the throttle the whole time. Car comes away from him. Alex Seekers, again, I think he starts really, really well, but the back end of the stint, tonight he actually showed me some really good long stint pace. So I was really, really impressed with this drive from him. Also have a look at Craig Schultz, I think, and Tyler Williams actually won the class coming out of Brands Hatch as well. And again, the reason he did that, no mistakes. I've actually got a really good opportunity this season as well. I'll be driving alongside a Tyler Williams announcement on that to come in the NASCAR team actually coming up. So a lot of opportunity to pick his brain and work with him. And he's really trying to spend some more time behind the seat and work on different aspects of his driving. So he saw this as a big opportunity to do that.
Well, you know, that's one of those opportunities that we look to give some drivers, as Vinicius Collio, or one of the bronze drivers, has just allowed Craig to come past him further back at the end of the field. I mean, I suppose we can break it down as easy as this. Gold class is pretty much, you know, very, very fast drivers. Majority of them are very clean, very consistent, and they're happy to run side by side or front to tail every single lap, and they can do it for laps, lap after lap after lap. These are the top level drivers. That's why they are classified as gold class drivers. Silver class drivers, well, they're the in-between, but they're the drivers who have either got good pace but they're inconsistent, or they're really consistent but they lack pace. And as Shed's got, you know, it's building. That's exactly what it is. You know, silver class is really it's the workhorse class of the field. It is the drivers that are learning as they go along. They're getting better and better every week or every season. You know, Doddsy, you know, with his abilities, you know, in a supercar, doesn't translate well to a Porsche Cup car because it's a different driving style. Well, it can, but it hasn't for him to this point.
For me, the Gen 3 is the closest Porsche to the Porsche Cup car that we've ever actually seen, and I think this platform is just a little bit different to the 992.1. And I actually learned on iRacing to drive in the 991 car. That's where I spent a lot of my early racing in the car, which is why I really wanted to get back into the Porsche Cup car. I just love. I've been a Carrera Cup guy since I was a kid. When are we bringing it back, the 991, by the way? I will gladly run as a support category for anything in that car. The engine note on it.
You know, we've spoken about different endurance races we would want to run at some point.
I'm in.
I am a big fan of 3-class, 12-hour race somewhere, all 3 Cup cars. So 992.2, 992.1, and the 991 all together.
I don't think you get anyone in the 992.1 because it's not.
It's
not retro enough.
Well, you might get some of the 992.1, you know, absolute stands, but you know, maybe. Well, okay, maybe not that then. Maybe since everyone loves the Porsche GT3 car at the moment, maybe the 3.
What about the Radical? Get the Radical in there.
Oh yeah. We could do a whole Porsche event and just take it to one of the German circuits. Take it to the Hockenheimring or the Nürburgring. Put some pressure on yous. Actually, 12 hour at the Hockenheimring would be a great time. I think that would actually be really, really fun. Multi-driver.
Get the roof in there.
Oh, yeah. The roof.
Where's the Celine?
Where's the Celine when we need it? The Bronzes, honestly, they've stepped up their game this season. I've been very impressed by the likes of Tim Nicol, who... Tim's been here literally since day one as he's running with it. He's forgotten to take his safety car livery off tonight for ASR.
It's probably in his best interest to leave that one on, Tim. Don't take that one off for everyone else's safety, not yours.
But Tim has literally been here since day one. He is one of a few drivers who has raced in every single season of the VRS Porsche Cup Series, and this season right now feels like his breakout season. Now he's going to have to contest with Luke Crum, who's had great pace in the first 2 rounds, has worked the sprint round and the rush round to perfection, hasn't raced tonight in the feature round, but I look forward to seeing what Crummy can do when he comes back, because I think him and Tim are going to have a very close battle for this championship, and I don't think Crummy's going to run away with it, and I don't think Tim will either. But I think Tim's learning this car a lot, he's getting better and better in it, and he may well become a silver driver heading into Season 5 if he can put all the pieces together this season.
It's really interesting watching Tim drive because, again, another one of those guys is a big guy in a V8 supercar. I sent him a dirty, filthy message last week of, my God, you blocking, beep, 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 beep. was basically the content of what we said, and then we had a good laugh and a chuckle and a catch up about it. But no, he wanted to be aggressive, and the thing about Tim is he definitely shows the elbows out. I think one of the biggest things is he's got a really, really good aggression brain. Racecraft and Tim does go together from time to time, but not all the time. I think we're actually about to see our leaders dive in a pit lane, but he's got that potential. I'd love to see him get a class victory, because I think one of the guys who does put a fair bit of work in behind the scenes, he's another one of those lovely guys. Even if he blocks you aggressively, he's one of those, and you have a elbows out into each other kind of race, you can walk away from it and laugh about it with him, because you know he's just genuine and down to earth, and you can talk to it about it. Even if he gets into you and he makes a mistake, he's going to stick his hand up and apologise about it. But, you know, he's going to make mistakes, you're going to make mistakes, and you're going to love it and laugh about it afterwards. And he's one of those guys that I would gladly get the elbows out and maybe put him into the wall once in every 10, because I know that I can walk up to him afterwards and go, hey, mate, that was an accident. I didn't mean that. And, you know, you can carry on about it. And he goes, yep, that's racing. So,
well, we can see as well, which is, you know, from what I've seen from Tim, even like he went to, I think it might have been the Darwin Triple Crown last year, and he posted up some photos of some of the Porsche Cups in the pit boxes, and he just titled it with doing some R&D for next week's race. And I thought, you know what, this guy is here for a great time. He wants to be a part of the community, help us build this community as well. Tim Nicol has got a place in this league whenever he wants it. I mean, he can be here every week. I mean, in my opinion, he's such a genuine guy, and you know, he deserves some success this season. I think he's really earned it. As I think Mazomo, his last pit stop was a 49-second stop, Scotty. I reckon he's had a stop hold for something, and I think he may have actually clipped the AstroTurf, or he's doing a drive-through right now, because
that'll be incident points.
Yeah, incident points. As Daniel Harris is now in pit lane as well, so I reckon he has copped the stop hold for the AstroTurf, which has given him another 1x, and now
or does he leave tyres on?
Not at 49 seconds. I wouldn't think he would have, but he may have, though. He might as well have done both. So Harris in. We expect Shepard to take back the race lead, but will Edwards jump Harris here? Well, he's actually managed to stay with Shepard across this last lap, and I think he may jump him, although it's going to be tight. Harris is going to come out of pit lane. He's right there. There goes Shepard. Where is Jake Edwards? He's right there. It's side by side on pit exit, and Harris is going to hold him off for the moment. Less than 5 minutes to go, and Daniel Harris has managed to hold on to P2, but Edwards is going to hound him for it across the rest of this race. This might be the toughest 5 minutes of racing Daniel Harris has had all night, because Edwards is going to be right on him.
But you can just see, again, he's under assault. I can tell you, I just went looking through the penalty history. I can tell you that was a drive-through penalty for Simon Mazomo. Has hit above 20x incident points. But again, look at the differences in the attitudes of those cars. Harris has got not a lot of front end at the moment, which means all the faster corners. He's got to take the entry slower, get the car rotated earlier as well. Starting to lean on the off tracks as well. Once those front tyres start to go off, it's a lot harder to keep it within the track limits. Dives it down here into the back half of the circuit now as well. Think about this corner. Another long loaded one. Tyres are screaming. Then you've got to get it back out and over the curbs. The car bounces all over the place in the braking zone. So easy to micro lock onto the brakes. Balance the car through the rear end. Where the fuel weight is determines how nicely the car settles through that corner. What's the tyres feeling like? He's missed the apex. He's missed the turning point there. And he caught it midway through.
Somehow he gets away unscathed at this point, but for 3.5 minutes, Daniel Harris is going to be a targeted man by Jake Edwards. Fire up Jake Edwards fans out there. P3 at the moment, up 8 positions in this race, and Jake wants to make the move on Daniel Harris up towards turn 1 as they rise up the hill. They've got to be careful though. If they make contact and end up off track, the real benefactors out of this is going to be Angus Lawford and Luke Page of Project 36. They'll sneak their way on the podium if either of these guys show blood, and if either of them end up in the sand trap as well. As there's some lap trapping to deal with. Could play a part. It doesn't. David Uni jumps out of the way. Fair play to David. Gave him the spot. He doesn't want to get involved with it. Oh, but he's got to be careful with Lawford trying to come past as well.
And then just balance the car. Tip it in. Make sure you're in the right place. Make sure you get drive out the other side. You can short shift here.
You see Harris. He wants to cover that inside. Lap traffic was being a big part of that too. Here comes Edwards. Nearly collides with the rear of Harris's car. Down through turn 6 they go. He's holding on to this point, but how much pressure can you apply before something pops in the back of you? He's got to try and hold on here. He is under an absolute assault by Jake Edwards, and the more headlights that pop up in his mirror, the more pressure there's going to be. In this twilight affair out at Jerez, as the sun goes down, the pressure goes up for Daniel Harris in the dying minutes.
But again, just watch it. The critical thing is getting down to turn 6 in that hairpin. He's leaving the inside of the track. He's covering it enough, but he knows that there's no opportunity to get the car in. So he could cover that further, but there's no point. You don't really want to be all the way over on the right-hand side of the road. Track is a little bit dirty down there, but that doesn't matter enough in iRacing. The big thing is it covers off your momentum in the middle of the corner. So he's still giving himself an opportunity to hang and hang with it and carry momentum off the corner before he gets into that faster section as well. Watch the cars as they bounce through this section. Watch the usage of the curbs. You can pick up the throttle very, very early. Bounce, 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 all the way out to the curb out here. Burn a lot of right-hand side tyre through this section. Let the inside tyres hug that inside groove of the corner and sort of wrap yourself around the corner. But you can't really touch the curb at the apex here. You want to be as close to it. You can use a little bit of it, but if you use it too far around the curb, it actually hops the car and you lose the front end chasing it. Then you've got to lift. Then you're a sitting duck at the back end of this straight. So it's a lot of little bits and pieces. But the big thing is have a look at Lawford, who's crawled his way into the picture. So Edwards made a mistake on that lap. Now he's under a little bit of pressure, and that gives Harris the reprieve that he was looking for.
Yeah, just a slight reprieve now for Harris. We're going to have one more lap to go in this race as they cross the timing line prior with roughly a minute and around about 45 seconds left on the clock. So they should get one more in. It'll be very, very close on the timing clock, though, in terms of if they do get it or not. As you run it around turn 9 and 10 and up towards turn 11 now, how much pressure is being applied? How much can you hang on? It is edge of your seat stuff. As Jake Edwards, he's trying to get him, but he just can't quite get there. He's going to get one more chance, and it's on the final lap.
Yeah, well, you mentioned it. There's a critical factor in that. There was about 10 seconds left worth of leeway, and that means that we come across the start-finish line with under that left at the end of this lap. What does that mean? That's an extra lap. Who put the fuel in? Who covered for that? Who put enough in the tank? I can tell you, I certainly different, and all of a sudden I crossed the start-finish line this lap and went, oh, I'm in trouble here.
Yeah, that's that, and that's the factor of the hour-long race of, well, have you planned for it across your two stops? Have you maybe gone a little bit too early in anticipation and thought, hey, do I actually have enough fuel here to get to the end? It's not like a lap race where you know exactly how many laps you're doing. It's an unknown. It's an unknown, especially if you get a safety car of, well, how many laps are we actually doing tonight? Has my fuel calcs been correct? Is my auto fuel set correctly as well? Because if it isn't, it could cost you massively at the end portion of this race. It's overtime here in this one at Circuito de Jerez. And as we're down at turn 6, Jake Edwards is all over the back of Daniel Harris. Dylan Shepherd looks to be away. 1.1 seconds. I don't think Harris can get back at him here. So it'll be a second feature race win for Shepherd if he can keep it clean across the second half of this lap. He might be. He very well may be, because this car is only just crawling home. He's trying to save this thing. Covers the inside at turn 9. Can he hold him off for turn 10? No, here comes Edwards on the inside. A little bit. Oh, my God. I was so gobsmacked by it.
Out of room. Now Angus Lawford's going to try and sneak through the inside. Second to last, third to last corner. As they come through the king, they'll pick up the throttle, try and balance it back out the other side. Is the 22 car going to cough, splutter, and die to the line? Well, I know who's not going to die trying. And have a look at Edwards, had to cover him to the line as well. Shepherd out the last corner. He's going to steal it. Harris is in a drag race with Lawford. Who's going to get there for the podium? Harris by a nose.
By an absolute nose, Harris gets there, and I do apologise. I was just so gobsmacked by how incredible that last few moments was. But Harris, yeah, battle for ninth. It's on. It's on with Mueller and Macca and Rankin, and Macca's just has he just got you there, Rankin? He has.
I told you, I was short. Ran out of fuel.
Oh no.
We were 100 metres shy of picking off Sean McNamara.
Put that on the CV. That'll be one to keep an eye on for future references. Todd Suter wins it for the bronze class tonight. A consistent run across the board for him. Miles Burgess, Alex Tzoukas as well, finishing behind him. I think Dylan Shepherd's getting a push back to pit lane here.
I think there was a few, but
He's run
everything
out.
I saw on the Discord last night was my calculator was short by about a lap or 2 laps. And the big thing actually was quite critical because I had a look at with probably about 5 minutes to go, I had a look at my fuel numbers and went, oh yeah, that looks about right. And then took my eyes off it again because I was in this dogfight with Macca and sort of wanted to try and hang on to it. But I had a look at it before I popped in for the final pit stop. And I tell you, the iRacing auto fuel with a positive 1 lap buffer wanted to fill me up about 2.5 litres short of what I actually needed. So I don't think a lot of people did the numbers on that one, and it actually did come and cost a lot of people late in that race.
Yeah, I mean, it's a learning curve for some who may not have pre-prepared themselves for the, tragedies of auto fuel. It catches everyone out, doesn't it, Scott? It's caught a lot of people out over the period of iRacing and league races as well, and, sometimes it helps you, sometimes it hurts you, and that's hurt some drivers out there tonight. But it hasn't hurt the likes of Dylan Shepherd, who's taken home a race win, with Jake Edwards finishing 1-2 for One Performance Racing on the road, with Daniel Harris in P3 tonight. Angus Lawford will finish ahead of Ryan Bettis, with Luke Page and Sam Muir finishing in behind them. Ryan Mueller will win his final outing as a silver class driver in P8 on the road. He'll move up to the golds for round 4, with Sean McNamara and Scotty Rankin making up our top 10. Ellie Gardner will finish ahead of Luke Swan, with Mackenzie Stewart and Todd Suter ahead of Miles Burgess, with Alex Tzikis, Craig Schultz, Tyler Williams, Tim Nicol and Curtis Bird for the top 20. It was Todd Suter who took home the win in the end for the bronze class here this evening, as we then look further back down the order to Jolden Hanson with Harry Dodds, Vinicius Coolio and Simon Mazzomo ahead of Gary Watson, with Mitch Curry, David Uni, Jason Dunn and Kurt Chapman finishing ahead of Rick Cowling Fitzgerald. And then there was the lonely Jack Anderson at the back end of town after unfortunately having a steering failure early in the race, bringing out our only safety car of the evening, Jack Wilkins, not getting started in the end here tonight. For classifications for you, the bronze class was Todd Suter ahead of Tim Nicol, Vinicius Coolio, Gary Watson, Rick Cowling Fitzgerald and Jack Anderson. For the silver class this evening, it was Ryan Mueller ahead of Scott Rankin, Alex Tzikis, Craig Schultz, Tyler Williams to the top 5, Jolden Hanson, Harry Dodds, David Uni, Jason Dunn, Kurt Chapman, and then Jack Wilkins, as I said, never raced. And then for the gold class this evening, it finished out with Dylan Shepherd ahead of Jake Edwards and Daniel Harris on the podium. Angus Lawford, Ryan Bettis, top 5, Luke Page, Sam Muir, Sean McNamara, Ellie Gardner and Luke Swan, the top 10. Mackenzie Stewart, Miles Burgess, Curtis Bird, Simon Mazzomo, Mitch Curry makes up the 15 gold cars, and how they finished out here at Circuito de Jerez. It was a great time to go racing once again in the VRS Porsche Cup Series. I thank you so much, Scotty, for coming in and having a chat to me as well whilst we were going around. Next time out, we're going to, well, it is
No.
Mr. Peter Baxter's favourite
No.
circuit in the world, Mobility
No.
Resort Motegi for round 4. And that will be
the track
in
doesn't flow.
that will be in 2 weeks' time for our next rush round this season. We'll be back at the start of February, the 2nd of February, in fact, for their race. The 3rd of February will be your broadcast for the VRS Porsche Cup Series. I'm looking forward to it, Scotty. I love a bit of Motegi, and I think this is going to be a lot of fun, especially with rush round formats. Surely it's not going to be Brands Hatchworthy. Surely not.
Well, the thing is, the track's a fair bit wider and it gives you a little bit of opportunity. Using the curb is quite critical, but it's not critical to the same part that it is critical both in the Vara and Jerez. It does flow, but the ability to get down the inside of somebody is quite difficult. Passing will actually be set up by checking. It's nearly, you want to drive it to get an overtake done actually more like you would want to drive a sprint car more than anything. The idea is if you show the nose down the inside to somebody and they cover it, you're like, sweet, cover me at the first apex of a couple of different apexes of corners that sort of chain themselves together, and you'll compromise the momentum off the exit, and that's actually what you're looking for. But it's a track that challenges you because you've got to be critical at a lot of different apexes and carry it in, get the car to set, get the car to rotate nicely. And it's also another track where I think pushing that brake bias further to the rear is going to be risky, but pay dividends.
Well, I think it's going to be a lot of risk versus reward next time out at Mobility Resort Motegi for round 4 of season 4 of the VRS Porsche Cup Series. We had so many of you out there in the chat here this evening as well, so we really appreciate all of you getting into the chat with us here this evening. We did have one, though, from Rhiannon in the chat. Scott Rankin as co-commentator in 2K26, please and thank you, Scotty. So there is a request for you to stick around for the rest of the season or possibly the rest of the year. Don't know how that's going to work when we go back to live broadcasting whenever I fix out my tech issues, but for replay broadcasts.
Well, I'm only available on Tuesday nights for another couple of weeks is the only problem. So, yeah, unfortunately.
That's okay. That's all right. But maybe we'll find someone else, though, who can fill the gap for us for the next period of time. But next time out, as we said, we go out to Motegi for round 4. That'll be in 2 weeks' time. So we have got a week off next week for Australia Day. We're back on the 2nd of February where the drivers will go racing. And the 3rd of February, that Tuesday night, will be the next broadcast for you, the VRS Porsche Cup Series as well. Coming up for you the rest of this week, Saturday evening, 8:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. The Racecraft Simulations V8 Veterans Split 2 action of Season 26 for round 4 in the Balin Stewart Foundation round as we go out to Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. It's the Spanish Inquisition at the moment here on Infinity Broadcasting, as you've now had 3 Spanish races pretty much in a row. So we look forward to that one on Saturday evening as well. Myself and Brett Fisher will be in the booth for that one. A big thank you to Scotty Rankin for joining me here tonight. A big thank you to as well to all the series sponsors, VRS, Infinity Broadcasting, SPP Graphics and Blackheart Designs as well. Thank you all so much for joining us here this evening. If you liked what you saw, be sure to hit the like button, the subscribe, the bell icon as well, so you're notified whenever we go racing right here on the channel. But until next time, stay safe, drive hard, and as always, bye for now.
Control, feel the thunder in my soul, through the danger, through the pain, only one thing to do to get to victory lane, taking risks, full send, and in the end, be the best, it's taken over, cannot contain, the desire to get to victory lane. I hear the echoes of the past, the roaring ghosts that never last. But here I stand, the finish line. One last race, one last time. Through it all, get past the pain. Cutting laps, making gains. Feeling tired, get to my aim. The desire to get to victory lane. Speeding faster, no control.